That's Clone Force 99.
This is Wrecker, Hunter, Echo, Tech, and Crosshair.
Obviously, we are different.
We're all you're getting. Ha! We're all you need.
They call themselves the Bad Batch. Experimental Unit Clone Force 99. The defective clones with desirable mutations.
This is one meeting I don't want to miss.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Dad Batch Podcast, episode 85. My name is Stevie Kicks, and I am one of your hosts today. And with us, as always, the other Dad Batchers, your space daddies. First up, he's our very own real-life cross dad. It's Brian Cook. How are you, man?
Hola, ¿cómo estás?
Hola, hola. Next up, he's the specialty costume manufacturer and painter. It is the one and only Alpha Ignition himself, John Rodriguez. How are you, man?
Heyo, good. How are you?
Doing well, man.
Good.
Let's see. Next up, the commanding officer of the 501st Legion's Southern California Garrison, and not at all busy these days. It's Rami Shanaday. How are you, sir?
I am good. Good to be here.
Good. And the E6000 of our little squad. It is Joe Lara. How are you, man?
Outstanding now that I get to see you guys. Yeah.
It's been a long week. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. And then, guys.
Lads, we've got company.
You want to sit with us? That's never happened before.
And with us on the Marauder today, he's the ambassadroid of the infamous R2KT, the pink Imperial droid with the heart of gold, and most notably the founder of the worldwide costuming organization, the 501st Legion. It is the founder, the one, the only Albin Johnson. How are you, man?
I'm good, guys. This is so awesome to be here with you guys. Thank you. You're now my new hype man. Thank you.
Stephen will just follow you around.
Yeah, that's awesome.
From here on out, Stephen will just follow you around.
Oh yeah.
That's it. That's awesome.
Well, thank you for being here, Albin.
Super excited to be here, guys.
I know we've been trying to. You're one of our big fish, one of our whales. We've been trying to land you for a long time. So thank you for joining us.
You guys have been very patient with me, and I thank you, and I hope that the patience is well rewarded. I'm just excited to see you guys, and the street buzz is huge, and I'm just honored to be here. Thank you.
Right on. Guys, it's been, gosh, it's always weird because every Wednesday we get together, and I feel like I haven't seen you guys or heard from you guys, even though we just talked on our chat like every day. What's been going on, guys? How's everyone's week?
Fast, furious. I was in Arizona over the weekend. My niece, who I was able to preside over their wedding last November, and the day of the reception, they're like, "We're also pregnant," and we're like, "What?" So this last weekend was the wedding shower. And this was co-ed, so it was kind of cool. Like I didn't, you don't want to be that one weird dude in the,
in the bounce house? Or
yeah. Oh, I got in the bounce house. That was for the kids. You have to test it out.
It was
right?
for the kids. I know.
We got to test the bounce house. We had a bouncy house in the backyard. Got to test it out. And but it was cool. So it's just super excited to see this young couple. We're super proud of them, and man, you love it when you see a family starting off and they're doing all the right things. Nobody's perfect, but it's just really cool to see. And you're like, dang, that's awesome. So yeah.
I like that bouncy house video.
And
you say it's for the kids. It's like when we do costume events and they're like, "Oh, I need to take a picture with you for my grandson." You're all, "It's not for your grandson. It's for you.
Don't tell me when you see a bouncing castle, you don't get in there.
Oh, I'm getting in.
Oh yeah,
Getting
dude,
in.
you got it.
It's 30 minutes after you eat though.
No,
Like cramping and
Have you guys
stomach.
seen that like $10,000? I'm sure it's probably costs more, but it's like the bouncy house, but it's the Millennium Falcon.
oh yeah,
Oh wow, no, I haven't seen that. That's
it's,
cool.
it's like the size of a house.
It's huge. Yeah. We went to I don't know. It was recently. It was this little fair thing, and it had a little kid section, and it had that huge Millennium Falcon, and Amy went and bounced in it. It's like 2 cars. It's huge. It's like your whole garage. Steven.
Didn't they have one of those at LA Comic Con this last year? Am I the only one that remembers that? They had one in there.
I don't know.
It was inside, yeah.
I just remember the giant Pikachu at LA Con. That thing was huge.
It was over by that. It was
Okay.
in that same section, and by the dinosaur. Remember that they had the dinosaur thing. So
Oh, guys, I saw Ghostbusters over the weekend.
And
New Ghostbusters movie, yeah.
Yay.
okay,
Nay?
what's the word?
I know none of you guys have seen it, so I'll stay I'll stay spoiler free. But I, as a longtime Ghostbusters fan, who doesn't agree with everything that ever comes out of the franchise, I loved it. Don't
Good.
let my reviews sway you from seeing it or not seeing it. If you were planning on going to see it anyway, go ahead. But yeah, I would say that it's one of those movies that I don't know what the franchise is doing so well, where they're able to just blend the OG crew with the new crew, and it doesn't feel shoehorned. It feels natural and cohesive to the story. So yeah, I mean that's a big.
Could it be
big
that there's no agenda? It's just storytelling.
It's just a good story. Yeah,
It's a good
I
story.
love me some
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
but you know what? There's a lot of I guess I don't want to get spoilery, but I would say that there's a lot of like
Fan service.
neckbeard. There's a lot of neckbeards out there who are saying that there's agenda pushing topics in this movie.
All right. All right.
But-
I mean,
But I think it's just I want
Do
to
you know
talk
what
about
did-
the movie so bad, but
You know what didn't have an agenda? What I saw?
oh no.
Roadhouse
oh, the original
on
one, right?
Amazon Prime.
You're talking about the original road, the one.
Talking about the new
And
one
only-
with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Does
and
I haven't
the
seen it.
notorious Conor
D-
McGregor.
Does a jugular get like ripped out, like the throat?
I was waiting for it, and it
Right?
did not happen. Not to spoil it for you.
Dude, how do you remake Roadhouse?
That scene was epic when you were a kid.
I'm gonna
You're like,
tell you
"Oh,
this:
God."
they didn't remake it. It's like a new version, a new modern
That's a remake,
version.
Brian. That's a reboot, right, Brian?
There's only like a couple kind of like fan service things that like tie into the original, and it's kind of tasteful. So, but the movie is very much like it's a popcorn movie. You know,
Okay.
drink a couple beers, eat some popcorn.
So I have a question about Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Did you have any problems with the way Conor McGregor was walking? Because that's all I hear about in the buzz is
So this was one of those situations where he basically was playing himself.
okay.
Like it's him.
Yeah.
So how he walks if you follow him on Instagram, or that's how he walks. But
Oh, there you go.
yes, the best one is I can't.
So
say
he's
it.
not winning an Oscar. He's just himself.
We're G-rated tonight, so I can't do it.
That's pretty funny.
Standard Connor voice.
Oh,
you know?
Nate.
But
Thanks.
it was
Hey, thanks,
entertaining.
Nate, for that super chat. Thank you, Albin,
Awesome,
for
dude.
creating the amazing 501st that grew to bring us this amazing space family.
Heck yeah, Space
I
Fam.
think we helped bring
Thank
Nate
you for being a part of it, Nate.
to. Did he win his first armor from us at Chrome Tono?
No. He
From Tono 1?
He built it. Okay.
he built it. Yeah. He built
Getting
it.
my streams crossed. Ghostbusters
Yep.
reference. That was for you, Steven.
Well, let's get into into our Q&A a little early since Nate's bringing it up. Let's see.
For your information, the stinger of a Yalvik queen is a delicacy on some planets.
So I don't mind. I don't mind like kind of just setting up the what we're doing. Ramey, I know you got some questions to get us going. But guys, just popcorn question, right? So Ramey, if you want to, if you got something lined up, and we'll just jump in, and Albin, send it, man. We love it.
Prepare for the firing squad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All
boarding party.
And what I will say is, for anybody that's listening to the live or in the chat, type out your questions there, and we can obviously we'll all see that, and we'll ask those questions to Albin too. So, I mean, I thought it would be appropriate just to start off. I mean, Albin, you're the founder of the 501st Legion. Can you tell us kind of the origin story and kind of how it founded and kind of when and where and all of that good stuff?
Yeah, I found this guy on the side of the road, and his name was Albin, and I knocked him over the head and took all the credit for what he I don't know. It's so unamazingly bland how it started, but that's kind of how all great origin stories begin, right? You from nothing something comes, and so for anybody who's heard this, not to be repetitious, but it's so important to cover the fact that this was shortly after I had lost my leg in an auto accident, and this was around 96, 95, 96, and it was a long struggle to adapt to that. And I was getting on this thing called the internet. For those of you who don't know, the internet's not been around forever, and it was a challenge to me. The re-releases were coming out. They were redoing the movies. They were adding footage. Some people liked, some people didn't like. But the one thing, after a dormant stage of Star Wars not being in the zeitgeist, when they came back, one thing was obvious, and that is the public really resonated, and there was like a pop culture shift. And so, what me and my friend Tom, who lives here in Columbia, we just went crazy talking about Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, and we loved the idea of the stormtrooper, and we wanted to do something. It wasn't really cosplay wasn't even a thing at that time, although you see people who've done it in the past, and we wanted to be stormtroopers. Like, we just thought they were the coolest thing ever. And he found an armor maker out in Southern California that was selling armor, and we got the armor. And I don't know how much you want me to go into detail about all this, but we just essentially, I got the armor.
All of it.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the I have a degree in psychology, and so I'm fascinated by human behavior. But I got the armor 1 or 2 weeks before Tom did, and people who weren't there probably don't know that they were releasing A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and then Return of the Jedi within 2.5 weeks of each other. And my armor showed up just in time for Empire Strikes Back. I show up at the theater. No one knows what to make of me. I'm trying to get in my armor in the popcorn room. So anytime I smell popcorn butter in a movie theater, I think of armor. It's weird. And walked out, and I was already trying to think how you could best mug two fans, and I'll tell you, the best one is just walking up and down the aisles before the movie opens, and then waiting for them as they come out, and it was great. But the problem was that I had this weird aura around me where people thought I was like a walking museum replica. People were very weird about it. And it was only a week or two later, when Return of the Jedi came out, Tom got his armor. Suddenly people were acting a little different because it was two stormtroopers. And it made me think about all the things we think of when we see stormtroopers, is that you think of them as a part of a much, much bigger empire. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be cool if we had, I don't know, 100 stormtroopers? That was like my life's dream, is to see 100 stormtroopers. And so I got on the internet, and we built a site called Detention Block 2551, where Tom and I would post pictures of us doing our trooping, and we would go to anything. The opening of an opening of a comic shop. We would go to where they played the collectible card game. We'd go to daycare graduation ceremonies. We'd go to video rental shops having a Star Wars day. Like, we just did anything. We were shameless. And we put these pictures up on there, and we decided, well, we should have nicknames. And so you think of TK421. We thought, well, what's your birthday? He's May 12th. All right, you're TK512. I'll be February 10th, take TK210. And we just created the adventures of TK210 and TK512 in detention block 2551. And it was all the wacky things that we were doing. And Scott MacArthur out of Canada emailed us a picture one day of him in his armor near sunset, and we made a whole story about, here he is, TK so and so on a vacation planet, and before you know it, I mean, this is what's crazy. Like, I had no real intention for this to happen, but I mean, just emails just started flying in one after the other, and from New York, Japan, and England, and California, and Florida, the places now you equate with having a big Star Wars presence, uh, just deluged with them. And before you knew it, I had to come up with rules on the fly for how you're going to organize this. And so when we came up with the name, I thought, we got to, my dad was in the World War II, and he was a pilot. And I remember looking through his graduation book and all the guys with the goggles and the fur and everything. Anybody watch Masters of the Air?
Yes.
We've talked about it on the show.
We've been talking about it.
Guys, that's my dad. That was that's all the pictures of my dad. I've got,
wow.
I heard all these stories. And so I'm so glad they're doing that. But to see these rows of aviators, and they got such a cocky grin, and they got the cigar and the goggles, and they're all,
Men.
I was like, why can't we have like an Imperial yearbook and everybody have their thing? And the one challenge you have with that is, well, stormtroopers all look the same. So, and that's something I've explored in interviews before, is the dichotomy of the 501st is you have a character that is unimaginative, completely obedient, falls in line, completely bland, uniform across everything. But you're filling that character with the most creative people, the most unique people, the people who want to express themselves. And what do you do with that? And it's been a beautiful experiment. So we just, I'll say this, I'll end the whole origin thing with this, unless you want me to go on. Is it's amazing, and George Lucas proved this to be right, and Hollywood proves it every day. You never know what the potential is for a good yarn. And so I sat down and just typed out a backstory for this group, because I thought to myself, well, we could be part of a unit. My dad was in World War II. I remember these zippy names like 101st Airborne or the Fighting Seabees, and I thought, what would be a big unit number? So I landed on like 500, because I wanted something fighting something with some alliteration. So Fighting 500, we just threw a 1 on there. And unfortunately, it was also a Buttonfly Gene at the time. And so all that came together. But the cool thing I liked was every time you see Star Wars, the original trilogy, Vader would be walking along and there'd be some stormtroopers, and he'd go, "You come with me." And I thought, wouldn't it be cool if that was like, we'll say that was us. That's our group. We're off the books. The Emperor doesn't need to know about this unit. They're the Fighting 501st, and Vader just kind of calls them in to do their dirty work. And that's what people resonate with. They want a good story, and they want to be a part of it. So here we are.
That's amazing.
Wow.
And it went from you starting this to then in Revenge of the Sith, the notion of the 501st being Vader's personal squad
Yeah.
became part of the official canon at that point.
Yes.
What was
yes.
that
And
like?
Guys, unbelievable. Like, I tell people, like, if you're gonna be inspired by anything I did, which I always say it's a pyramid scheme. I'm taking credit for thousands of people doing all this hard work, but people like to know where things came from, and what like the Walt Disney or the Steve Jobs figure that created it. I'd say this is like, just never discount a really good idea if you believe in it. And there's a million ideas you'll have that maybe you'll never try or don't work out, but man, when they work out, they really work out. So when I saw that they were writing us into Revenge of the Sith, uh, I mean, my heart exploded. I was like, when I finally got to meet Hayden Christensen at MegaCon, or no, yeah, it wasn't MegaCon. We stepped up to him, and I told him, I was like, those guys marching behind you, that's what I envisioned Vader having, and I could tell he was really moved because he knew now that there was a story behind what, anybody could just write up a unit, but to know that all of you guys and all the ladies and guys out there that are part of the 501st, he takes that very seriously, that we're his people, and it makes him feel really good. So
Man,
Okay.
that's awesome.
Okay, so Steven's laughing because he knows
Yeah.
where I'm going to go with this.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you say that because in the TV show Obi-Wan Kenobi, when Reva and then subsequently Vader come to the planet Jabim, where Kenobi's holed up in the bunker, and they break through and they're invading. Those stormtroopers, when they needed, they only had like 11 of them on the stunt team, so they needed 50. So those are members of the 501st Legion that they needed. And so when we were all kind of crowded around backstage, waiting to go, on another take, running down the cave or whatever, Hayden comes walking up. And the first thing he says, he throws his arms up in the air. He says, "These are my people."
That's
Which is exactly what you just said. So
That's it, man. And
he's
I
thrilled with
couldn't,
it.
I mean, I couldn't be more happy that guy, that such a nice guy. And that's kind of what we did starting in 2002. That's a whole nother story about how we got the celebrities involved. And that was a crazy, crazy beginning. There's certainly been a cottage industry that's grown up around people getting autographs and photos and everything. But the fact that we, different from most clubs, actually render acts of service and always have for a lot of celebrities, and it might be something as simple as just, you know, uh, picking them up at the airport, or taking care of some of their stuff. It's really cool to let our heroes know, the celebrities know, that we care about them and we want a relationship with them. So that's cool to hear. I'm glad he did that.
Albin, I'm curious. At what point did you figure out like your love and passion, and you and your buddies just dressing up, right, as stormtroopers? At what point did you also realize like, hey, we can do the charity aspect? We could like, merge these two worlds together. How did that happen?
Wasn't me. I would love to have some, Paul on the road to Tarsus, or some sort of awakening story. But seriously, guys, I w- it was genuinely an autogenesis moment across the Legion, that people felt motivated to do that. Now, I saw out of Atlanta and out of Colorado, I think there was the Candlelighters, and there was Big Brothers, and I saw some troopers do that because remember, go back to my original statement. We would do anything back then to be in armor, and like, I'm sure a lot of charities picked up on this and said, "Hey, got some volunteers here. It'll make things look good. It's a little pizzazz." But it didn't take long before, not me, it was no order I gave or any idea I had. Everyone simultaneously just started, well, you've done a charity thing. You can't help but walk away getting goosebumps. Like, that felt good. And to know you're wanted, and not only are you wanted and kids have fun looking at you, but you feel like maybe we made an impact. That's addictive. I feel like that's, I would say around the 2003, 2002 era, that's where you started seeing people do it. And before you knew it, um, there was no one area of the world that it happened, but everybody just started doing it. So another good life lesson is there. You see a good thing happening, feed it, don't get in its way. And that's what I've always done, is try and lean into it. So you can understand how ironic it is that later I was the recipient of a lot of that charity, when, my daughter was ill, and suddenly the whole world was, praying for us and caring for us, checking on us. And so there's a lesson in there. There's, there's very much a full circle lesson there, and so I'll never go back to doing it just for the fun of it. We've done too much good to not admit that's something we need to be doing. But I wish I could claim credit for it. It's all of y'all. All of y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all get credit.
You're the spark that lit the flame.
I mean, I'll tell you. I mean, I've been a lifetime fan of Star Wars, and I was born in '84. My first time seeing Star Wars in a theater was in '97 with those special edition returns. But it wasn't until 2015 with Force Awakens coming out where I was like, okay, I'm an adult now. I've got my own money. I can do things that I want. I'm gonna join the 501st. Like,
wow, yeah,
and it's so funny because being a lifetime Star Wars fan, I feel like my fandom didn't really start until joining the 501st. It's completely changed my life. I mean, we have a podcast. We meet weekly and
Right.
I mean, I literally have been all over the world now.
Yeah.
Because not because of Star Wars, but because of the 501st.
Mhm.
Wow. Yeah, you know what? I talked to a lot of fans that, that it's funny, people, muggles, I call them, people that are not fans, in the non-fan world. They'll say, "Wow, you're all one big brand of uniform nerd." And I'm like, "No, there's people that just like to collect the stuff or just like to, go see the movies or whatever, get the toys." And I tell people that are the mega fans, once it feels like there's an invisible wall between that and costuming, and it's almost like a bridge too far, and they feel like, wow, that's just not for me, or I couldn't be that. And I tell them, like, get in touch with your local garrison and try on a set of armor or a costume and tell me you'll ever go back. I mean, because you're right. It opens you to a whole nother dimension because now you're part of that galaxy. It's life changing. I'm glad you had that.
Yeah. So just to take it back to something you said a minute ago, Albin, with the, if you trying to not take credit for kind of all of the stuff that the Legion's done since then, but the reality is the current commander, Justin Sonfield, he always points out, he says, all of this is because one man decided to make a costume. So, and he's obviously referring directly to you. And speaking of Justin Sonfeld,
Lads, we've got company.
You want to sit with us? That's never happened before.
That music is way too grand for me.
Isn't it good? It's so good.
We just want more guests. Let's bring some more guys on.
Let's bring some more guests.
He's the
Johnson,
current
how are
commanding
you?
officer of the worldwide organization Star Wars costuming group, the 501st Legion, and returning to the Marauder, it is Justin Sonfield. How are you, sir?
Hello, y'all.
Hey.
My daddy family here.
What's up?
I don't think we've ever had this many people. on the line before.
Yeah, this is definitely the most people in the Marauder at once.
Dead
We got
tested.
room for 2 more too, if there's spaces. So
Pretty bunched.
dads on here.
Yeah, it's like, oh.
yeah, right.
What could go wrong?
Right now, Brian's in the Alice square in the middle.
Oh yeah.
How you doing, Albin?
What am I, Marsha? I guess I'm Marsha. No, am I Marsha?
Am I
I'm
Jan?
good, Justin. How you doing, brother? That is
I'm
so cool to
okay.
see you.
It's so good to see you. So I want everybody to know this, that what was it, Albin? Was it 3 or so years ago that I called you and asked for your blessing to do this thing?
Oh yeah, it's so much. It's so funny. When people do that, I'm like, yeah, dude, rock on, brother. You know what?
Good luck.
I think there's something. There's a lesson in there about some of the greatest leaders are the ones that have a heart for humility, a heart for service, and I appreciate you doing that. It wasn't certainly like I'm back here, kiss the ring, anything like that, but it's really cool. Like anything I do, I kind of check out the people that have been around longer and go, "Am I doing this right?" So I appreciate you doing that, man. You've been killing it.
Oh,
Since
stop.
then, I'm so happy and proud of the work you've done and your crew. I'll give you a little credit. Your admin staffs are always top notch.
Let me tell you,
I love
and
working
I'm just the admin of the admin staffs that they do all the real work in this Legion. But it's been an honor and a pleasure to serve everyone. Now going to be in the 3rd year, and we got a lot of really, really awesome things kind of standing on Albin's shoulders, as we always have, for what you started and what we're very, very thankful to have.
Well, I'm just grateful that you guys. Some people say, "Well, just don't wreck the ship." Well, you could also say, "I don't think you're going to wreck the ship." And digging back through the history books, there have been plenty of times that people were putting the toe tag on the Legion and going, "Up, up. Once this is done, they're gone." And here we are, 27 years later, and they're not. It's more about, can you keep it exciting, or can you find something fresh, and can you find a way to serve the fan public? And you guys always find a way, and so that awesome work.
We appreciate everything that came before.
Star Wars is just that's what they do now. They just wreck ships and just get new ones. I mean, that's
Disney's got a lot of
canon
money.
now.
They can keep providing ship after ship.
Yeah. Justin gets in, just pulls a Hodo maneuver and just wrecks the whole thing. Yeah, no. It's funny.
Well, if they keep making more ships, then that keeps Hasbro in business too.
That's true.
Right.
Very true.
That's right.
Very true.
Hey, I got a question for Albin. So I loved how you I mean, the way you say it, it's like, I just started wearing costumes and then other people just started building on it, which is cool. But there might have been a point when maybe like a milestone, let's call it a milestone, where, it hits you, wow, this thing's massive. And you talked about 501st being on one of the movies being mentioned, but was there a moment earlier than that? Is there
Yeah.
a certain thing that comes to mind?
There are discrete actual points in the timeline that I can tell you where it was make or break. And the further back you go, the more primeval it is. Like when something's coalescing and it's very wild and unformed, it's scary, it's exciting. And so the first moment that it got crazy was Dragon Con 98, when we went for the first time, fell on our face, and no one took us seriously, and Anthony Daniels thought we were losers and everything. But what a lot of people don't realize is at that time, and
Thought everyone was a loser.
well, I'm telling you, man, like I remember, this is funny. I remember walking through the Hyatt, and I forget the name of Yeoman Rand, the actress who played Yeoman Rand from Star Trek, the original series. She's walking through, and there must have been like 20, 30 Klingons, and they were just marching through there. And I'm going, man, no one's as cool as the Star Trek guys. We look what we're up against, and now you don't see any of that anymore. So, beware, beware Caesar, thou art mortal. Every empire could fall. But I remember a guy handing me the CAG guidebook and saying, if you want to start a real club, you'd follow this. And of course, no one's heard of CAG anyway. But what a lot of people don't realize is that no hate on Star Trek. I love Star Trek. But there were two other interests going at Dragon Con to spin up a stormtrooper club. A lot of people don't know this, and they were purely profit driven, and they were using very underhanded tactics to try and get in the way of the 501st squad that were there. I mean, I honestly felt like I had stepped into some kind of mafia scene, because there were there were just some unsavory characters that were trying to so that's time point number one that I feel like was a real turning point, because we endured and we outperformed them just out of acts of service. The other one would be 2002, when Celebration was Celebration 2 is in Indianapolis, and I reached out to Mary Franklin to see if we could be a part of this, this celebration. And she allowed a meeting with me before the convention in the convention center, and we were just sitting there with the hammers banging and people sawing and still building it. And she sat down with a cup of coffee and said, "All right, give me your pitch." And let me tell you all, that was the most important pitch of my life. It was telling her that if she would just trust the 200 and something stormtroopers and Star Wars people there, we would really, really deliver. And before they have a chance to make up their mind about us, I want her to know the first impression is we just want to serve. We just want to serve. We are not a threat. Remember, this is before any of the rules had been kind of worked out as to what our role would be. And by the end of that convention, they had so poorly staffed the volunteers to run Celebration with the throngs of fans that it was. They said one guy in a stormtrooper costume could control, 500 people in a room, and the amount it would take like 20 volunteers to do that. And after that, Lucasfilm was they saw what we were willing to do. So that's the early moment that I always remember. Yeah,
That's cool.
That's still true too. Kind of.
Oh yeah.
When it comes to Celebration.
Oh, absolutely. But that was a make and break moment. Like, you remember Celebration 1 was it was like Woodstock, out in the rain and everything. So
Where was
Celebration
it?
2, that was like out in Colorado, the Air Museum, I think it was. Somebody correct me on that.
No, that's right.
But good stuff.
That's cool.
That's cool.
What
Who's
else we
flying
got?
the ship?
Questions. Just fire away. Questions.
Oh, we're just firing questions away.
Well, so
Yeah.
I'll kick one over to Justin real quick. So we heard Albin earlier talking about kind of the creation of the 501st and what things were like at the beginning. Can you give us kind of the current elevator pitch for what the kind of the state of the union on the Legion right now? Like, I know you've got all the numbers, membership and number of countries and all that stuff. So what are the latest?
I mean, I actually had to give this pitch today to Special Olympics as we're courting another new partner to work with. But we had a amazing run between about 2014 and to 2018, 2019 of growth. And during that time, and as Force Awakens came out, the Legion grew 3 times over, and hit close to 15, 16, almost I think 16,000 active members. And then the last couple of years, things have been a little slower getting back from the pandemic, and we saw a little bit of a drop, but happy to report the 2023 census had us with growth again. And, we continue to add new squads, new outposts, and even have a couple of petitions for new garrisons out there right now. So it's still very, very much a growth enterprise. We're seeing incredible collaboration with our peer clubs that are out there, forming a really nice bond with what we call the Big Seven. So those are the 7 biggest. It's not necessarily the 7 best, because I don't believe there's any best or anything here, but the 7 biggest meaning us, Droid Builders, Rebel Legion, Saber Guild, Mandalorian Mercs, Dark Empire, and did I get 7? I think
Galactic Academy.
How can I forget that, right, Rami? So we all have been partnering together on these massive initiatives each year, and really just driving incredible awareness for, obviously not only Star Wars costuming in general, these wonderful, breadth of costumes you're starting to see from all over the universe, including people that are developing their own original characters, which is fantastic. But we're starting to see more and more smiles being made, more and more people being touched, and obviously raising a lot more money and awareness for charities all around the world. Most recently, we partnered up with a massive effort with Starlight, which is a children's foundation that provides gowns and other items like VR and games to hospitals, children that are in need of really happiness. And we partnered with not only the U.S. but also in Canada, UK, and Australia to raise close to $100,000 with also the help of an anonymous donor over this past year for Starlight, between our efforts in Celebration and last year. And we received, as the Legion and the peer groups, their Golden Star Award for the year. So we were their charity of choice. So we continue to carry the torch that these guys have really raised over the past several years. So things I think are pretty good.
Definitely got to celebrate that, man. That's huge. That's amazing.
Moving in the positive direction.
Yeah.
I can jump in with a question if and this is almost for everybody, but we'll start with, maybe we can start with Albin and kind of go around the table. Like, do you have a a specific, I mean, it's been a long road for someone like Albin, and gets a little shorter as we go down the list here, but like a moment I'll say at a troop, because that's, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about 501st Legion. That was like the biggest impact on you personally, whether it was an interaction with somebody or an event or something.
I mean, the popular one that I always give out is meeting George Lucas, and obviously it's everybody's dream to meet George Lucas, but I would wind the clock back about 24 hours before meeting him at the 2007 Tournament of Roses parade. It was really sitting in the hotel the first time we had a commanders meeting, and everybody from all around the world was there. And I gotta say, y'all, I was just, you ever, like, when you were a kid, the first time you ever saw your favorite superheroes in this Hall of Justice, and you're like, oh my God, they're all here. That's what it felt like. And people were talking in different languages, and I'm telling y'all, it was just this moment where you're like, man, if the world could just be like this. These are people from every corner of the world, and all they want to talk about is their passion for this. And I gotta say that, seeing the blue clone troopers marching in with Hayden Christensen, yeah, that's great. But I gotta say, on a personal level, that just felt really, really good
to connect with all those different people from all over the world, from part of something that you started.
I mean, people were just fanboying and fangirling over each other because they desperately wanted to make a connection with people outside of their home, and just, you could feel that bond was there. It was just amazing. And we were there at during New Year's, right? Because we march on New Year's Day, and throughout the day, it would be New Year's back home for somebody. So every hour on the hour, we'd be in the hotel gluing armor together, having a drink, and somebody would be like, okay, it's the Belgians' turn. Hey, Happy New Year. Hey, the Philippines. Yeah. It was really cool.
Which I understand that feeling too of I feel like when celebration happens now, right? It's like a gathering of Legion. I mean, it's 75% of celebration is Legion folk.
Exactly,
and I can imagine at that point in time, the global reach, and some of these people you probably never met, and social media isn't then what it is now, so
right.
That's awesome. That's a great story, Albin. Justin?
Okay, so it's really hard to pick one thing.
I know.
because I can't, and I think that someday, I've told several people in the community that are a lot more good with words than I am, that someone's got to write a book about the butterfly effect of Albin wearing one costume, at a point in time, and what changes that have happened in people's lives as a result of that. So I'll pick one from that's apropos to the group here, and that was in celebration in 2022 in Anaheim. My son had been accepted to be in the costume contest, and we had made him a wrecker costume. And I had followed Indy Speeder and Jack had followed Indy Speeder on social media for a long period of time, but we had never met them and family. And when we got there, we had just assumed that they would be in the costume contest, and they weren't in the costume contest. And I thought that was not a great thing, because India's and family are all part of this community that we have here. And I thought that it would be great for the world to see a little wrecker and a little tech on stage together at the same time. And Jack had won the contest before, and we've always done our best to teach him it's not about the winning that's important. It's about how you share the experience and things. And there they are. and there they are. And so thanks to Rami, he had some pull and got the thing changed so we could have both of them on stage at the same time. And I mean, I cried a lot, and seeing Indy really steal the show, and her mom was worried that that she wasn't going to necessarily make it through the whole thing. And it's always a little harder when you have a child that has needs. And I mean, she stole the show, and Jack got a friend for life, and it was just such an amazing experience. So I thank Rami for making that moment happen, and the kids for really seizing the moment and making all of us feel a little better about what we do and how we do it.
When Indy's on, she is on, and she was on
Yeah.
fire that night. She came
I
out,
mean,
and she
the
was
wave.
she was just taking it all in, and the entire crowd in that place was just going crazy for the two of them. It was amazing.
Yeah. Sorry to upstage the real Dad Batch, but you know.
No.
No.
Those kids were-
That was perfect.
And I don't know. I feel like this is like a super important question. So I definitely would like the rest of the guys to chime in if you got like something off the top of your head.
What comes to mind to me is Anaheim with all you guys when we first got together as the Bad Batch, like a complete Bad Batch, and the reaction we got from everyone, essentially, from literally everyone, you know, which kind of catapulted this a little bit for us. But it felt so cool to just live vicariously through other people's reactions and seeing how they, you know, can we get a picture every 3 seconds, every step we take? Can we get a picture? Can we get a picture?
Couldn't even walk, man.
We couldn't walk. Yeah, we couldn't walk anywhere, but in a good way. You know, it was awesome.
And we hadn't all of us suited up together.
That was the first time. Yeah, that's why it was such a big deal to me, at least, because it was the first time I think in the world that anyone had seen the entire group together, and
including Lucasfilm. I mean, when you really think about it,
and we actually ended up meeting and speaking with people that had showed us pictures of like, hey, we were there, we got pictures with you, and we're like, oh my god, we didn't know, you know, because we had our helmets on or whatever.
You have no idea,
and everyone's just coming by, right? You know, everyone's walking in, walking out. And yeah, they're like, oh yeah, here's me and you, you know, in 2022, and we're like, whoa, you know, we had no idea, whatever. So that was a moment that stands out. Yeah.
Steven?
I would say, I mean, man, yeah, Anaheim was cool. Definitely like a moment in my life that I'll never forget. But I would say that the troop, because you know, if we're talking about like official troops that we've gone to.
All right.
No, that's okay, John. I mean, that's like
it wasn't a troop, but
it's part of it, though.
An official event.
It wouldn't have happened without, you know.
Sure.
That's right.
My bad.
I don't remember the year. I know Raimi and Brian. I know Raimi and Brian were there, but it was the American Cancer Society's 24-hour Relay for Life.
Oh yeah.
And somebody came up with the idea that we should have not only the 501st Legion's flag go around the track, you know, on this relay, but that we should not let the flag stop rotating for 24 hours. And I mean, there was, when you go to these 24-hour relay for life events, there's the candlelight vigil at one point where everyone's just emotional and crying.
Survivors.
There's the 2 a.m. Moment when everyone's checking their bleeding blisters on their feet. There's the 3 a.m. point when everyone's just loopy and crazy.
That's my favorite.
Delirious.
But I mean, for me, and I don't want to get too like too cheesy here or whatever, but for me it was seeing the faces of everybody at the event at sunrise when, you know, we're all just emotionally, physically drained. We've been up for over 24 hours, some of us in costume, walking with the flag, and just seeing everyone's face at sunrise. Just, okay, like, you know, we've got that extra hour and a half to go. Let's just give it our all. And yeah, there was a lot of lifelong friendships made that evening, and just good stuff.
Dude, Steven, I got to say something real quick. So you bring up something really cool that I think we've talked about how awesome it is to build costumes to eventually troop, right? And get out together as a group of fans, but also to meet people. And maybe it's a charity event. But there's almost like stages to the troop. So there's the excitement of like maybe a couple of days before of getting your gear ready, checking batteries, hopefully like making repairs, and you're chatting, getting ready. So there's that kind of like a little bit of hype, like you're going to go on a real cool ride at an amusement park or something like that. Then then you probably down some energy drinks or coffee or whatever. You get out to the troop, meet and greet, hugs, because you haven't seen each other maybe in a month or in a couple of weeks or whatever. Then you put it on, and that's when you see the interaction with the people, and that's incredible energy. But at the end, and now you went for 24 hours, but we're talking about like a troop of maybe 3 or 4 hours when you're wearing some of the stuff that's kind of, it's binding, it hurts sometimes, your back hurts, the older you get, it hurts, it just does. Taking it off and then just getting the vibe from everybody's, hey, we just accomplished something cool together. There's so many different stages to it. And even at the end of a troop, when you may go out and have a meal together or whatever, and talk about the next thing you're going to do, it's just really cool, the stages of all of it. And I think people that are considering joining the clubs, there's a lot, man. If you want community, there's community.
There's
If
a lot
you
of
want
camaraderie. Yeah.
a lot of it, right? And I'm an introvert, so I'm kind of like I'm very guarded with with who I let in. But this is a group of people where you can feel accepted, you can feel like you belong. Because I don't know, it's just really cool. But
it can be whatever you make it.
Yeah, exactly.
That those 24-hour ones were rough. To clarify, I only made it one time, but I did do a combined total of 10 hours in my Vader, and I walked around that track. That was the time we made it. That is me at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
My Vader needed a bath after that too. That was rough.
Oof. Is that the longest you've ever worn it?
I've done, yeah, definitely. Well, it
10
was off and on over 24 hours. I had
Gross.
combined.
Yeah.
That
it's
is gross,
nasty.
dude.
Yeah. I washed the
Nasty.
leathers. I washed the
Took it
leather.
off 5 hours later, then put it back on.
Yeah.
Ugh. Sounds like
Yeah,
Velcro when you take it off.
Yeah,
Who
squishy.
hasn't gone yet?
Creamy and
Rame dog.
go.
Well, I was just going to add, so I can add to Steven's. So we put a little clicker on the flagpole for the Legion flag that we walk around with, and we keep track of how many laps we've done. And then over the course of a few laps, we measure the distance that traveled and everything, so that ultimately we can do the math. So on those 24-hour events, we average about over 70 miles that the flag travels during that 24-hour period.
70.
What is that? What is that in kilometers?
I don't know.
What is that? 100? I don't know.
110 maybe.
Yeah, it's over 100, right?
Over 100. Yeah.
60, about 60 is 100. So
That is literally, it is. Wow. That is probably one of the gnarliest troops I think I've ever done, because it takes a village of people to do that. To
Dude, you should have
not let that flag drop.
You should have weighed yourself on a scale, and then at the end, step on a scale afterward, and you'd be like,
My baby
Water
was
weight, for
right,
sure.
boy.
real quick.
It is.
I mentioned this on the Mike Forster's podcast, Armor Party. Yeah, it was a troop I did with John. He had Hunter, and it was just he and I think we're the first ones, and it was up in Laguna Beach. This little boy, super shy to walk in with all of the characters, looking down and just kind of timid. And the mom pointed at him and said, "Hey, look up, put your head up, look at this guy," and pointed right at me. He had glasses on, and so I pointed at my glasses because I was wearing tech, and I'm like, "Hey, look, we have the same thing." Dude, the biggest smile just erupted on his face. And that was the thing. And so that moment, like, we had a moment, and I was like, this is exactly what I need to be doing right now. I needed to be here for this kid. Will he remember? I don't know, but dang, that's a cool gift to receive from this little boy. So that's always going to live in my head forever.
I remember that story.
That was a good trip.
Yeah,
cool.
really good trip.
I didn't go, so I'll throw this one out there. I'm a sucker for doing hospital troops. We talked about it a little bit earlier, and I have like really great stories from that. But I think, and for me, and I guess selfishly or whatever, because Albin's here. Last year at a con in his hometown, they had no Vader they had no costume trooper for the last day of the con, and I saw Albin was there, and I keep now that we live like in the same vicinity, I kept trying to like find things where he was at so I could meet him. And it was awesome that I got to go down and be Vader for him and your buddy Dave. Yeah, he was great. Awesome OG Legion guys here, and just got to tell Albin like, hey, thanks, because this like through the Legion was how I met these guys, and got to do a lot of cool stuff with my family because my daughter would troop, my wife would troop. And because of what you did, like it gave us something to do as a family. And I've always wanted to be able to give back. And the Legion has been my way of giving back because I have things and I have a good life. And it's nice to be able to do things for others. Like you were saying, you know, it's like, that's why we do it. So being able to meet you, being able to text you and talk and just be stoked and was huge because of that, I get to do all this other stuff. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
What else we got?
Good sharing, everyone. Good sharing. This is my psychology coming back. Good sharing.
There you go. Yes, very good sharing.
Positive reinforcement.
So much more uplifting than what my original internships were about. That was sad and scary, and this is great. So that's awesome.
I mean,
That was awesome.
I've told you this before, but I will tell you a trillion times that I think in general, most of us grew up as what were called nerds, I think, way back in the day. And, my son had a little incident recently in school where someone called him a nerd. And he came home and I thought about like how my dad would have handled that, which would have been probably the opposite of this. But I said to him, Jack, you are a nerd. And he's like, I am? And I'm like, yeah. Do you think your mom and dad are nerds? And he goes, no. And I said, well, we're both nerds. And I listed off a group of people, adults that he loves. Raimi, who he knows obviously very well, was on the list. All the Thank the Maker guys and all the influencers and everything that he seems to love. I said, do you think they're nerds? And he's like, no. I said, Jack, the nerds won. The nerds won. So whoever this is that's saying that it's you're a nerd, just say, yeah, I'm a nerd. What are you? And
slap a high five. Tell them
right. So I've said this to you before, and I want to say it, a million times over. Is it wasn't always cool to dress up in cosplay, and it wasn't always thought of as kind of now the cool kids that we are. And you guys, all the ones with 3 digits or so, carried that water for all of us for a very, 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 very long time when it wasn't cool. So from the bottom of all of our hearts, just thank you, for staying at it, keeping going.
You're welcome. And I will only give you a tiny anecdote to prove just exactly what you're talking about. I'll just leave you with this. It was around 2004. You never want to get separated from your Halloween parade group, Star Wars group, in Manhattan after dark.
Oh my God.
On the wrong street because oh my God, I was a human piñata.
Oh no.
I mean, we're like, it was Escape from New York bad, and then finally I made my way across the street and found my group again. But you're absolutely right. There was a time it was just open season on nerds, and now hey, show of hands, anybody who's got like high school buddies trying to reconnect with you on Facebook going, hey, now I get what you're saying about all those Marvel characters. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
You didn't read the comics. You can't be coming to the party.
Welcome to the party now.
Yeah, you can't sit with us.
So there's some serious, and you can tell your son this. I think we all believe this. There's some serious street cred now that we can pull out. Like, yeah, I have my original Ninja Turtles, or I have my original Transformer. Yeah, it's cool, man. We've arrived, and I pinch myself all the time. Like, this is the golden age of
be a nerd.
Nerddom.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
That's awesome stuff, guys. Well, thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Our listeners literally make this show possible. So if you'd like to show your support for the show, rep it with the finest of Dad Batch apparel. Pick up your brand new Crosshair Space Daddy shirt and stickers at thedadbatch.com.
The star of
This is Darth Vader, commanding you to listen to the Dad Batch podcast. It is your destiny.
Thanks.
This is the part where we dance.
Oh.
Go for it, Ramy.
Is this the music we're using for this?
Song,
Okay.
Joe. Steven's like, you're up,
Yeah.
Ramy.
Okay. So this Friday is WonderCon, and as we've been talking for many weeks on the show, so join us, the Dad Batch, live at WonderCon and meet up with cosplayers and makers from around the world. So we feel like what we have surrounding us is more than just the podcast. We see this incredibly creative and thriving online community that we've been fortunate enough to find ourselves a part of since we started the show. So, and the talent that we here on the Dad Batch podcast see each and every day being shared with the world through social media, build parties, and conventions inspires us to one-up our game. So we get behind these microphones every week. We talk about what we're doing, but the reality is we're more interested to hear about what everyone else has going on. And the family reunion events that we do throughout the year is our chance to do just that. It's your chance to not just join us as we record an episode of the podcast, but more importantly, your opportunity to share with us and the community what you're working on, your tips, tricks, and even compliments with your fellow artists, and see their amazing work in person too. Add real-life interactions to friendships that otherwise might only ever exist online, and experience for yourself firsthand what we see every day and how this is the best online community and family in the galaxy. So again, the Dad Batch Podcast Family Reunion will be live at WonderCon on Friday, this Friday, March 29th, from 8:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. in room 208. So you can go to the show, close the show out, come on upstairs, and hang out with the Dad Batch. So, and we might actually have a group costume that we will potentially be revealing at the event.
Did we? I thought we said what we were doing, but because I
Believe.
spoke to some people recently, and they're like, "We have no idea," and I'm like, "What? Really?"
We haven't said it on the show. I think we've said it in front of some folks in person in fairly small circles, but it's not been made public.
Well, good thing it hasn't slipped because I thought it was common knowledge already. So
Because John was telling everybody.
I believe
I might have.
that it's going to be awesome.
I believe.
I do believe.
Do you believe?
Don't forget, if you are attending the panel on Friday, Pabu Life immediately after.
That's right.
Oh,
Save-
yeah.
You have a
Savor-
place, right?
Absolutely.
You have a place, and it's in
Hurry
walking
up
distance,
before-
right?
We'll announce those details after the show.
Walking distance.
Hurry up before Pabu gets blown up.
This garbage is nothing like clone armor.
Looks a little tight on you, old man.
Yeah, at least I know how to wear it.
That's right, everybody. It's time for the weekly workbench. All right, gentlemen, who is working on what? Let's start with Brian. What you been working on this week, man?
I have nothing to show in front of me, but just more of those swizzle sticks that I've been making for our new space, little tiki stir sticks. So I've been cranking those things out for our new spot. So, and that's it, really.
Wait, is this you guys launched this past weekend, right?
Yeah. is that
Yes,
not
we
the
did
Friday?
soft open.
So that's Workbench.
That's
Talk about
something.
it.
We
Yeah.
did soft open our gallery. There was supposed to be an event that got rained out, but we were still there. So, yeah, we're open, working on trying to get everything buttoned up. We're selling geeky tikis in there, which is super cool. Some people know geeky tikis. They make all kinds of cool Star Wars, Harry Potter, Indiana Jones, you name it. All types of pop culture tiki mugs to enjoy your adult or not adult beverages in
Water.
maybe some juice. But yeah, I'm making these like really nice stainless steel, they're stainless steel like stir sticks. Swizzle stick is a very popular tiki mug accessory for stirring your drink. But I'm making them Star Wars. So I'm doing stormtrooper heads on top. I have a really cool mythosaur skull that master CAD person Steven made. Designer? I don't know what to call you.
Oh, I didn't design it. That's actually
You edited it.
Yeah.
You made it fit. So
I did. You know what? Yeah, I did alter it, though. Modified it.
Modifier. 3D file.
What I was thinking,
Desirable
Modified.
mutations.
Brian. You know what I was thinking? You know how you have the stormtrooper helmet on one of
Yeah.
the swizzle sticks, you should do the storm. You should make one that's like the same helmet,
Mhm.
but on the spear, like in
Oh, the
Mando.
pikes, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
pikes
yeah.
on
It's
the
already,
pikes.
it's already on. Yeah, my wife already gave me that one.
That's a good idea.
That one's already in production. It's in a production meeting
Where it
somewhere.
actually goes through the helmet on the top, like it's
Yes.
piked. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. But that's it. And then East is open. So check it out at east.concepts on Instagram. And the web store will be up soon. So I've had lots of inquiries for how do I buy your custom tiki mug swizzle sticks, and you will be able to buy them on eastconcepts.com once it's up and running.
If
almost
there's
there.
people, if we have any listeners in the Carolina area, where exactly is the store located?
We are in Mooresville, North Carolina, on Main Street, right downtown on the main drag of just hopping Mooresville, North Carolina.
Right next door to the DMV.
No, you could do
It
your
used to
driver's
be the
permit
DMV.
there, right? Get
It
your
used to
driver's
be the
permit.
DMV. So we get asked. Usually, when people do come in, they're trying to renew their plates, and I have to tell them, "Sorry."
Is it like the internet says that's still the DMV?
I believe that DMV site still says it. Everything else says it's closed, but I feel bad because you kind of hype yourself up when you got to go to the DMV. You're like, I got to get this done. I got to
do
do this
this, right?
paperwork, and then you
You're
get there,
disappointed.
And
you
it's not even a DMV. Yeah,
can't
buy
find
some
it.
artwork.
You
Okay.
can't find it.
So I thought of something you need to do. You need to get make a cardboard cutout of what the North Carolina driver's license would look like, with like John Doe on it and like fake information. But then the photo would be cut out, and you got anybody that comes in thinking that it's the DMV, you've got to make them
like,
stand
"Here."
behind that
You're like,
and
"Here."
take their picture with a Polaroid camera, and then put that up on the wall and have like a wall of shame of all the people that come in thinking it's the DMV.
That's
such
awesome.
a
A
good
wall
idea.
of fame, dude. We got a wall of
That'd
fame.
be pretty good. And then lastly, I will say real quick too, the shirts that Luke and I were making, I might have to push out the date on that because at this point we don't have enough orders really for me to make them. So look for Doom to get extended on those. So I don't know what's going on. We'll
I
see.
put my order in.
I know you guys all did.
I did too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But at this point, I'm not
How
going to
many more
spend
orders
money
do you need?
to lose money.
How many do you need?
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Like
We're
one
real
more
behind.
won't do it, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll just keep marketing. We'll market it.
Yeah.
We'll
For
push
sure.
it. We'll push it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it's my turn. Been working on some non-Star Wars things. As you know, me and Raimi have been neck deep in Helldivers 2. Raimi especially. No, I'm just kidding. We've been trying to drag Raimi into it, and he's resisting a little, but he's been playing.
Dying.
He played it. Yeah, that's okay. It's part of it. But for those who don't know, I don't know if Albin or Justin have heard of this game, but it's basically Starship Troopers in a video game. So you're killing bugs and stuff, whatever.
Nice.
Great explanation. Really.
Right. I mean, it's literally that.
Yeah.
It's essentially that.
Nice.
Super fun. But I'm making armor kits for people who want to be Helldivers. So I've been coordinating with some commercial resin printing companies that are able to do these bigger pieces because I don't have the capacity here. So it's moving smoothly. Everything's printed. I just have to wait for stuff to ship, and then we can mold everything and
It's looking awesome.
there. Yeah. I posted some
Those
stuff
resin
today.
prints are crazy.
Whew, so
How
good.
big is that resin print?
I mean, there's a whole torso. It's like a whole chest piece, back piece.
Yeah. I might want to hit you up for a project for one of those guys if you're in good with somebody there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. We can talk. Definitely.
I happened to experience wearing a cool 3PO once that was fully resin printed, and I'd like to do that again.
You want to? Okay. Well,
These guys bang these things out. John's
We
like,
could
"Hey, I'm
talk.
working on this thing," and then 3 days later, he's all, "Check it out."
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sure it is.
Chromed, ready to go.
Oh, well, no. Yeah.
This one doesn't need to be chromed. It's fine.
Okay. Cool. Whatever. Yeah, we'll talk. We'll figure it out.
Gotcha.
But that's everything I've been working on has just been that lately. So that's it.
Okay. The camera jumped to me, so I assume I'm next. On on Sunday, and I don't have anything to show for it because it went home with the person that I made it for. But so if you go out to look at the CRLs on the 501st website, the pre-scarring Sidious, so like Palpatine or Darth Sidious from like the Phantom Menace, the robe that is featured on that, the costume that's featured on that CRL, I actually made for somebody else. And so I've kind of gotten picked up as the local Palpatine maker around here. So I made a set of Palpatine robes for somebody. He was very happy. He was excited. It's like he's standing here kind of watching me work all day, but then I'd put different pieces on him and make sure things fit and size it and all that stuff. And he was just like giggling the whole time because he was just getting more and more excited as we would put more detail into it and put the hood on and all of it. Like put the hood on and like kind of drape it over his face. And all of a sudden he's like goes into like the Palpatine mode and you can just see the grin and the evil laugh. And for myself, I'm making progress on Mr. Joker.
Ooh.
This town needs an enema.
Yeah. So if you look, so here I got the pants.
Oh man, that's the pants.
Pants there.
And you made all of it, right?
You're wearing the beret, right?
Trousers
That's
for our UK
beret.
listeners.
Yeah, so I'm doing the beret version when he goes into the museum. Although I think I'm still going to leave my face painted white just because it drives home that it's the Joker.
Yes.
Right.
The skin colored makeup gets washed off part of that scene, and he's.
But he has the lips, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the jacket was a bit of a trick. So I found some good fabric, and I had a pattern that I had to order, and finally came in, and so I've got that.
Dang, man.
The buttonhole here for the big orchid flower that
that
squirts the stuff, the poison.
And you will squirt on people, I'm sure.
Oh, 100%. 100%. What is this? We're gonna 501st the hell out of this thing. It's gonna have all the details. So
dang.
Although the shirt looks like you didn't make the shirt.
I did not make the shirt.
That's
But I did.
disappointing,
I did. No, well,
really disappointing.
It's compliment.
I can buy the shirt for like $8 on Amazon or whatever.
You definitely didn't make the shirt.
But I did.
But cool, good job.
I sourced the correct cufflinks though.
Nice.
You definitely didn't make those either.
I didn't make those.
You
either,
didn't print those. Did
But
you?
they're a found item. There's lineage to these cufflinks, guys.
Take that,
Dang.
Brian.
Yeah, suck it.
In your face.
Why didn't you resin print an Illumilastron? God.
Yeah. Why didn't you just
Do
have
you
it
even
made?
cosplay?
Yeah. If
Dang,
you don't
dude.
struggle, it's not worth it.
That jacket is insane, man.
Yeah, I got the
Yeah, it
jacket
all
done a
looks
little
good.
bit ago, so it came out. I'm happy
Like
with it.
you worked on that like an hour right before the show, didn't you? Just like 1 hour.
I was working on it an hour before the show, but I was just many hours before that too.
Incredible, man.
So let's see who's next.
Dun, dun,
Let me see. What have I been working on? I've been reprinting the Paz stuff still in resin. It's like a never-ending project.
There's so many pieces, man.
But I
Should've
mean,
called
they're just
John
coming
Jack.
out. They're just coming out beautifully. Let's see, like the and then I started also at the same time. I'm also resin printing all my parts for my new Mando, my custom Mando.
Nice.
So those are in the works. Let's see what else. There was something big that I was working on. I can't remember. Oh man.
It's not that
Fail.
big.
I'm getting the garage, like, I mean, speaking of big, I'm making room for that big printer that's coming in, 4
the
feet by
Giga?
4 feet. Yeah,
BPE.
Which one is that?
BPE.
the Elegoo Orange Storm Giga. It's 4 feet by 4 feet by
Wow.
4 feet.
by
4 feet
by
cubed,
a-
right?
Yes, it's
It's
ridiculous.
the size of a pallet.
It's an apartment in New York.
So Uncle Jesse was able to Uncle Jesse, the YouTuber, he has one of the test review units. He printed the Rancor head from Galactic Armory. And Galactic Armory, when they modeled it, he modeled it 1-to-1 scale of an actual Rancor. And the printer's so big that he was able to fit the Rancor head at 50% scale on this thing.
Wow.
And he's printing it in one piece. It's
Oh my
ridiculous.
god,
The size of a Volkswagen bug.
so much filament. Oh my gosh.
I'm looking at it. Is it still got like? Is it like the bamboo type of speed and stuff?
Yeah.
Or yeah, it's like one of those. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm literally like clearing out a parking space for it.
Just start printing printers.
That's right. Print printers and then
Printception.
I don't know what the first big print that I'm gonna print on it is.
It's not the Rancor?
No.
I
I mean, because like I have to whatever the first big print is, it's gonna use like at least 5 kilograms of filament. So that's like what
I love how they have like
$100?
a single kilogram spool on it in the picture. It's like, yeah, look at that little thing.
So if anybody has any ideas of what I should print first, it's got to be big, and it's got to be something I can hang in the house or something.
You know those like big giant spools that like they'll turn into like tables for like bars. You know, it's like a spool on its side. Like that's a filament size roll it uses.
That's
like,
what I
this
need. Yeah,
giant.
It's a 100-kilogram roll.
That's it for me.
Man. That's crazy. So finally got my shipment yesterday in the mail. Those that follow us know that I'm in the process of putting together all the pieces to make Daimyo Boba from the Book of Boba. And so it's pretty cool. And I just want to show like one piece of the famous chest armor. But what's cool about this is you can bend it.
Throw it.
Is it rubber?
Yeah, it's rubber.
Throw it.
What?
Hit it on your head.
I just threw it behind me.
Don't do that.
I just did. Smack
Peer
it on your
pressure.
head.
It survived. Yeah, no, this is
Sweet.
That's awesome.
It's really cool, and it has the right texture and everything. So
Comfortable.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
nice.
it's pretty rad. This is the same stuff that they used on the show, right? It's like so Redmond Studios. Denny Redmond is the guy behind the scenes that put it all together, and this is a different costume because typically I 3D print my costumes, right? Except for the TK, that's a back form. But I was debating how should I approach this build, and when I saw the cost of Vader, when I saw the cost of original Boba, I'm like, man, that new Boba looks hot. I probably need to go for that one, and decided to just go all in on the armor. So that pretty stoked about that. And what's interesting though is you guys, I shared this Metalcraft replicas made one of the rockets, which is really cool.
Machine craft replicas.
Yeah, sorry, machine craft. Sorry. Thanks. And then I matched it up to what came. It's a resin version of it. It's a little off. It's a little bit thinner, but it's still going to work when I put it inside the gauntlet.
Yeah.
So
no one's gonna pull calipers out and be like, wait a minute.
It's off 3 millimeters.
Yeah, but your machine craft replicas one is the one from the show. So
yes.
So you're not using that, right? You're
I'm using this one.
Oh, you're milling into that after all?
Yeah, there's a little feature here that's only on Daimyo that isn't on all the other Bobas. And working with David Neth, he has a buddy.
Oh yeah.
Who tested machining it. There's some little grooves out.
Oh yeah.
But I was waiting for the gauntlet to show up, so the gauntlet's arrived, and now I can actually place it in and measure out those little details.
Right. You can map it out.
Dude, when you're done, if you're not like doing like front rolls and stuff, like
I'm gonna do combat rolls. I'm gonna combat roll.
I want to see you army crawling on the ground. Like,
is that jetpack rubber?
No, that's not. So I have to be careful with that. But I can take it off though. I got those nice from JJ Industries.
Joe, you do your own stunts, okay?
Okay.
You do your own stunts.
Well, I'm doing it, dude.
Okay.
I'm gonna put on Boba and then get it in a bouncing castle.
Perfect. Perfect. Deal. Noted. Yeah. Market right now.
Yeah. So then the next step, contacting Crow Props for the soft parts. He's got a really good setup. It's when I'm looking, the CRL is not approved yet on the 501st, but it's almost done. It's like almost ready. It's like probably 98% if it's not done tonight. And actually, JJ Industries is working on that CRL, which is really cool. But
who's are you going to be the CRL model?
No. There's a guy.
Someone's already in there.
There's a guy that 3D printed everything, and he's pretty dang good.
He's there.
He's there. Yeah. In fact, he's the one that modeled the EE3 Boba's blaster that I printed. And then so when I sourced the actual scope, the metal scope, the real scope, I took dimensions so he can actually make it a little bit better. So the EE3 that I printed is V1. He's gonna He's gonna make a version 2, and then I'll be able to slap on the actual authentic scope in reverse, because now we know that
because it's backwards.
Because it's
the
Star
scope
Wars.
is backwards in Star Wars. I love Star Wars.
Hey, that
They do
makes it different. That makes it different.
So it's non-functioning scope, but yeah. So I'm excited to get all these little nice Gucci features. I was trying to think like when I want to aim to get this build done. This is not a speed thing.
There's
I'm
no
not
rush.
I'm not trying to get it done for San Diego Comic-Con. I just want to do it right, and so I can start doing my own stunts. I mean,
do your own stunts. I mean, this is the expectation.
Say, Kim, okay, hold this rope, and then I'm gonna jump and pull when I say pull, and then we'll just see how it goes.
I believe in you.
I'm excited, man, about this build. It's really cool. Yeah, but that's all I got.
Nice.
Justin, what's on your workbench, man?
I mean, so it's too cold here, so there's nothing on it right now. I mean, I just finished making bikinis. I guess it was bikini season, so I did a number of Leia bikinis for some ladies that went on a cruise recently. But I guess the one thing that I do have, I just got this week, and here I'm gonna flip it on.
Well, I discovered that according to Hu Yang, I'm the worst candidate to be a Jedi out of every Jedi he's ever known.
So I don't own a lot of well, actually I do own a lot of sabers, but I don't own a lot of good sabers. And so this is from New Hope Workshop, Jason over at New Hope Workshop.
Yeah.
And
knows what he's doing. Saber?
I don't know. This is Sabine's saber. And
it's KR Sabers, right?
Yeah,
Justin did
KR,
the install for you.
yes.
Because I have I have the skull right here.
It is ridiculous. It is so good.
That boy knows what he's doing.
Knows what he's doing. The removable everything. So I guess, and now it's doing stuff. So I turn it off. Oh, now it's playing music too. Plays punk rock, space punk rock.
That's awesome.
So now I guess this summer or sometime I'm gonna have to make a new costume. Not for me.
Oh boy.
I have a person that lives in a house that may favor a costume like this. So yeah. I was gonna show the other saber he gave me, but then Raimi would accuse me of being in a cult. So
nobody would understand, Dustin.
No one would understand it though. Oh, it just went back on. So yeah, I got 2 sabers from him this week, and I mean the crap. I just I don't want it now. Turning them off is a problem. But after that, I just wanted to say that New Hope Workshop, incredible build, and thanks, really cool stuff. And KR,
yeah,
sick,
good stuff.
Albin, what's on your workbench?
I'm building another club. No, I'm kidding. My wife told me I'm done making clubs, because after the Galactic Academy, Walking Wounded, R2KT, blah, blah. No, I'm done making clubs. So I'm in a variety of other things, big Dungeons and Dragons fan, and I'm always working on my campaign world, and it's really big, and there's a friend of mine in the Legion that's connected to the gaming industry, and we're thinking about offering PDF packages of sections of the world, and you sort of franchise it out, and they're all based on stuff in history, and it's really cool. And also, my kids a long time ago designed a board game, and we've got that registered, trademarked, and we're thinking of marketing that to children's life programs in hospitals, and seeing if we could, if we sold them one for every game sold, there'd be one that goes to one of these child life programs. And it's a dumb little game, but it's so much fun. And anytime you're at my house, you're forced to play this game. And we've registered it, and now we're just looking at how, I don't know if you know, but if you ever go to a gaming convention, the gaming industry's what we see in costumes and props are also doing gaming, so it's pretty cool. And I'm helping my daughter with a Farah costume from Overwatch.
Wow.
So she's got a lot of
Nice.
EVA foam, and she is nuts about Farah, and she's doing all the work, diagramming it out and designing how all the pieces will fit together. So in the costuming realm, that's what I'm working on is an EVA foam Farah.
Bad.
Nice.
Very cool.
Never
Have you
ending
worked
work
with-
for us dads. Whether
What's
it's
that?
Star Wars, I said it's never ending work for us dads. Whether it's Star Wars or Overwatch or whatever.
Yes, and Elizabeth is huge into King Arthur, and so she wants me to show her how to make chainmail. So we'll be doing
Yes.
light gauge rings, and
Oh
like,
wow.
you want to just make a sheet of chainmail. It's not hard. You just gotta be patient. So yeah, that's what we're working on.
You can like resin print that now, right? Where it's like
I've seen
already
that.
like
Yeah, where
Yeah,
it does
you
it
can.
in. No, I think it's
FDM.
printed.
It
Yeah,
was FDM.
where
Yeah.
it'll print it linked up already. So you just peel it off the table. And it's like it just
Yep. And it doesn't need supports by the way it's been designed. Apparently,
right
Like,
because
there's
it does it like this. One
it
over the other.
overlaps.
wow.
Right.
Yep.
Wow,
It's
Genius.
crazy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Chainmail.
insane.
A lot of stuff on the workbench, boys.
Yeah.
Insane.
Before we continue here, has everybody watched Bad Batch?
Yes.
This week's Bad Batch? Who's not concerned of spoilers?
Let's
Because
do
we're
it.
about to get in some spoiler territory.
Spoilers.
We're all good. We're all good.
You may proceed, as John would say.
Proceed.
We've done these 1,000 times, boys. You know what to do.
When have we ever followed orders?
All right, guys. Like we said, this is a spoiler territory ahead. So if you have not seen episode 9 of the Bad Batch, now would be a good time to pause the show, go watch the show, come on back. This is season 3, episode 9, titled The Harbinger. Episode aired March 27th, 2024. Directed by Stuart Lee, written by Jennifer Corbett, with music by the Kiner family, with a Disney Plus description. As the Batch plans their next move, a mysterious stranger arrives. Ooh.
Who could that be?
First thoughts, guys. Who wants to go first?
I thought it was much better than Cats. Oh,
Let's go with
as Raimi holds up a cat.
that was meta.
I feel attacked.
Justin, what did you think of this episode?
I thought it was great. I think, and I haven't been on the show this year, so I haven't really commented on any of them. But I think that we're building worlds. We're telling the story better. I like that this season is moving a little bit more ahead. And really, we've got to close it out soon. I thought the mysterious guest was interesting. I thought the trials were interesting. Not sure what to really make of the outcome yet, and I guess we'll see some more. But I'm excited to see how far they'll take whatever they're going to give us at the end of this season. And in other words, there's a lot of things happening with Project Necromancer and somehow Palpatine returned and all that kind of stuff. I don't think this show is going to be allowed to give us everything. So it'll be interesting to see where we get.
While it's fresh in my head, I wanted to say there were a couple things I liked about this. Was a super fun episode. It was cool to see a familiar face again. That can we say who it was, or are we trying to?
Oh yeah, no, full spoilers.
Okay, so yeah, so Asajj Ventress is super cool to see her again. Two things of the episode that I'm going to speak on, and then I'll move on. One thing I loved was seeing she only has one of her what were her double-sided sabers, which are like these curved hilts.
Yep.
And it was cool to see it yellow. Although I guess that's the new canon now, because in the book she had a different saber that was yellow and hers was still red, and right, there was something going on there. Anyway, it's cool to see it yellow. I like seeing all the yellow come back to canon now, because it was a color in the EU, and they're bringing it back now. Whatever. And also one thing I noticed, the fight sequences that Asajj had with Hunter and Crosshair and Wrecker, That was all motion capture, right?
Oh,
Because it was
It looked
so
like Kung
good.
Fu.
It was so
Dude,
fast.
Yeah, I feel like there was motion capture because there was real movement. It didn't look like someone animated that. I mean, obviously someone animated it, but
I
it
mean,
looked
they
like
did that
they
in
were
season
real.
7 of Clone Wars, right?
Right, that's
They-
what I'm saying. They did it with
yeah.
Ray Park and
can't remember her
Lynn,
name. Lauren Murcam.
yes,
Lauren.
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 Yeah. So we've seen it before. So I'm
Mhm.
assuming just in my head, I'm like, that has to be motion capture because it looks so smooth.
I mean,
and
what a
so-
compliment! What a compliment to the animators if it wasn't, right? Like,
and maybe it wasn't, but it looked so.
It
good.
looked different. It looked
Yeah,
different.
It was different
Just-
and new, and even like the perspective was different. Like everything, the cinematography, it was awesome. And that's it for me. Obviously, everything else was great, and Asajj was great, but those two things stood out: the saber color and just the fight scenes were epic. I loved it. So fun.
I loved that we got like a finite definite answer that Omega is not force sensitive. Thank you.
What was it? Definite?
What?
Did we?
Hold on.
Yes.
It wasn't
I don't know.
definite. No,
I don't know if
it
it's
wasn't.
definite.
So I saw a great
my
comment
guys,
in the
come on.
I
in
called
here.
that too, by the way.
The
I don't
comment
think
in
it's
here that
definite.
says, was all that to just humor her or humor them? And
No, there's
No.
no.
I don't think
Because
it's
she
definite.
failed the first test, but she passed the second one.
I don't
She
even-
cheated.
or
She
were the,
cheated
or
by
were the
using.
tests just
She's
BS for
Batcher.
getting
That's
them
not
out of the
cheating.
cave? I like that.
She did what she had to do.
It
That's
didn't.
the whole
It didn't.
point.
I don't think it defined anything.
Come
At
on.
the end of-
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, no force
She has
for
high M
Omega.
count.
Nope.
and That's,
Nope.
that's
I
what
hope
Asajj
that's
said.
true.
That's what the test said. The blood analysis said.
Well,
I don't
everybody
know.
has M count, right? Apparently.
But she has a high M count.
She has no M count.
You have no M count.
I like M&M's.
Eminem
Nerd
count.
put downs. You have low income.
Right?
Melts in your
Um,
mouth.
There's
not
no
your hand.
blue pill for that.
No, there's
my
not.
my other little like it was just it wasn't like a big moment, but when Asajj just kind of like looked over her shoulder and was like, I've got plenty more lives to spare or something.
that.
I was just like, oh, like that was a good like Catwoman comeback, you know. It kind of alluded to the fact that, you know, she did die, but she came back, and I can't wait to get more of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Who's she working for?
Okay, so somebody had this theory that she's a bounty hunter that is particularly familiar with the M count bounties because she's collecting the bounties who are M count people, so that she can put them on the path for Quinlan.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than the Empire or nefarious people getting a hold of these M count individuals,
She's intercepting them.
She's smuggling them through
She's
the path,
intercepting.
which I thought that's a
Great
pretty
theory.
good idea, which would actually could potentially lead into a potential, you know, series or
Side
whatever.
quest, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like in Kenobi, right? We saw that Quinlan Voss's name was on the wall for that
Yeah.
railroad type esque.
Yeah. Yep.
Bringing Jedi,
And there were a bunch of other names too, which
a bunch of other names, right?
Yeah. But Quinlan's was there for sure.
That's Kenobi said his name, so interesting.
Quinlan Voss.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Anybody else have thoughts on the show? Reactions?
Clearly, this season is all about Crosshair before we all die. So things are looking great.
How are you liking your Crosshair episodes, Brian?
It's awesome. They fully removed his shoulder armor at this point.
Yep,
It's
I'm a
gone.
little confused.
We spoke on it,
And it cleared up in that trailer. There's that shot where Hunter makes, what does he say? He had a famous line in this one.
We're not
When
big
do
on
we
following
ever
orders.
following orders?
Yeah, we're not big on following orders, and that was in the trailer. And they had it zoomed in, and all you could see was Fire Puncher, and that's when we were like, you know,
Oh, that was the
there he is. But the way
That
they
was that
had
moment.
it in that screenshot,
That's right.
you
You
couldn't
thought
see it. All you saw was gray, and you couldn't. All you saw was gray, and you couldn't. Then the shoulder bell. I thought
that
he
makes
was wearing his
sense.
Imperial still,
That makes sense.
Ah,
There you go.
but they got rid of his
trickery.
fin, man. I'm not.
They're small. They're too
Fin
small.
back on,
So
baby.
you can mosh. They
Fin
heard
back
you.
on, baby.
They heard you say you're gonna wear it, so they wanted
Yeah,
to make it
I am
canon.
gonna wear it at Mosh Isley at San Diego Comic-Con.
There you
I
go.
am. I'm gonna bump
you-
that.
And
fin.
he
I'm gonna
won't
break
poke your
that
eye
stop.
out now.
I'm
You
gonna
could
break-
probably get like actual clone trooper shoulder bells, just regular, and slap those on.
I
your
think I have
crosshair.
some.
It's they're small. They're like clone trooper
Yeah.
size.
Print me some, somebody.
No, dude,
Um,
they make those.
But in the realness though, like it's cool that every episode you just keep seeing more and more of his rebonding with the group, and especially Omega, but just the group in general. He just continues to like
protector
become reintegrated back into it. So now where it's just like it's back. It's him. He's back. So, there was that moment where he got to Fire Puncher and picked up the guns and threw it to Wrecker and Hunter, and that was a cool. And the music,
Very
protective. Yeah,
very protective. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they got their butt kicked right after that, but whatever. It was a cool second,
And it was cool to see Omega was like, "Oh, how'd you learn? You must have been a Jedi." And she's like, "No," she kind of like changed the subject super quick. Like, anyway, come on, let's,
Yeah.
I'm
not. I hope you're right too, Steven. In my heart of hearts,
I am Count, baby.
Want to see the Force involved with Omega, but
she's gonna use the Force at the end and save them.
I mean, this season's so dang good. So even if they do, I'm sure they'll do it right.
I'm fine with questions. I mean, we want to see stuff answered, but we don't. There's something to be said about letting your imagination sort of fill the gaps until somebody else decides to tell that part of the story. And I think there's an interview where the writers are being asked about, hey, are you gonna answer and solve and connect everything? And they're like, some things we will, but other things we won't on purpose, because I mean we only have so much time and we only have so much storytelling ability. And right now it's about Omega and this, just really cool to see Crosshair change. Like, he is so different from being in prison on the first episode, just so emo. Like,
how about when he was like, Tech had the data on his thing and he pulled out Tech's little compat thing.
I mean, we knew that Tech was going to be mentioned at least once, his name once an episode, right? Like, we got to mention Tech, and every time.
Now all the Facebook groups that think he's alive can just, he's dead, people. He's dead.
Maybe his head melted.
Dang, John.
Maybe.
Dang.
How'd the goggles come off? You never know.
Before I wanted to give my thought on something, but before I wanted to continue, one other thing that I remembered that I liked about the show was the big monster, the big sea monster. I like. Was it just my imagination, or did it have like a mood ring shell? Because like it changed colors.
Did. Yeah,
it did, right?
Yeah.
Because as soon as Asajj used her force power on it to calm it down, it was like a mood ring and like turned blue. I thought that was kind of cool. But one of the things that it's so funny because like these shows, these shows for kids, they they get me thinking just as I'm driving on the way to work or whatever. Like I just start thinking the deeper meanings of these shows. So in season 2, let me preface this by saying that can we all agree that Omega is the main character of the Bad Batch show at this point, right?
Oh yeah,
she always has been.
We've seen Omega's journey where like season 1, it's like this new world is opening for her, right? And she's going through these changes. Season 2 was thematically her dealing with loss, right? And I think season 3, I think this is what I hope. I think that the writers are telling the story not just of Omega, but of of what I guess every typical child who's growing up has to go through, because we all have to go through some sort of loss as part of growing up. But then I think one of the hardest things for someone who's growing up is like leaving the nest, right? Going off on your own journey. And I think by the end of this season, we're not going to get the death of the Bad Batch and all this stuff. I think the big moment, and you guys can, chime in on this or give your point of view. But I think the big moment is somehow they're going to get to the point where Omega is going to have to go off on her own. And we're going to have to see the Bad Batch let her go. Brian, you're muted.
And then they die. There's no way we're getting out of this, dude.
She's saving them with the Force.
Everyone
guys,
needs to
come on.
accept it. Tech is dead, and we're not getting out of this.
Dude, Rogue One ending is awesome.
Pabu.
And they're due for another ending like that.
Super Pabu.
Yeah.
Oh, then can't the clones just have their day?
Can't they just survive? Happy ending? They live on Pabu. They eat sushi.
Maybe
they're
they
chilling.
go back and have a more
That's it.
longer setup. Like
Omega
Andor.
grows up.
I mean,
You know-
Andor
he
died
does something
gloriously,
else.
and then they gave him a show.
You know what was cool was hearing Asajj say like millions of clones. Like we know now for sure there's always been like is it a trillion clones? How many clones are out there? And then where the heck are they? Like we found one on the floor in Kenobi, right? At some, kind of begging. But like where are the rest of the clones at? What happened to them? So there's millions out there. And so it'll be interesting. Are they gonna talk about what happens to all these clones? Are they all on Tantus? Is Tantus just this massive prison of clones? Like there's still a lot to tell there on the clone part. And so is it going to segue? I mean, it'd be really cool. Like, I guess here's my question for you guys. Would you rather see, if you could only have one show, would you rather see an Asajj show or would you rather see a Rex show?
Rex.
Oh.
Rex. Yeah.
In theory, Rex, but maybe not.
Who says it can only be one?
I'm just to kind of just to force you to pick
Rex.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately Rex.
I mean, they could have Rex stories.
Don't make
for
me
days,
choose.
right? Like,
What are we gonna do? Just see Rex like chilling on a planet barbecuing, or
or like walking through
just murking droids.
What are those giant worms, Jupas or whatever? So we got to hunt for Jupas.
What'd you say?
Hey, we didn't get Albin's take on Bad Batch.
No, we didn't.
I haven't seen the episode.
You spoiled it all.
So yeah, the Rex killing droids. That'd be cool.
I mean, I would like to see maybe a break from the clones after this, because I mean, give us like the other Star Wars stories to tell, and then maybe in like 3 years just drop. Oh, hey, by the way, we have a new clone show.
I'll tell you the Star Wars show I want to see: Death Troopers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Clones
see a
of-
full-on like
Basically like a SEAL Team 6 type of show, but it's Death Troopers.
Yeah, I just want to see. I want to see them explore that. It'd be really cool.
Taking out rebels.
Like it.
Like special ops.
Yeah, you send in the Mandos, and then suddenly, what happened to them? They come back Death Mandos, and you're like, oh no.
Oh, you mean like zombies?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the EU.
Oh,
Death Troopers.
you're talking about Death Troopers.
Like-
Yeah,
like
I forgot.
zombies.
Yes, I forgot. Yes.
I thought you were
Rogue
talking about.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. That's like a plague hits or something.
Yeah, I want to see the zombie troopers.
I'm in for it.
What
I'm
happened?
down for that.
Where does it lead? What is Rick Grimes going to do? No, I mean, I'm sorry.
Right.
What is
Rick Grimes, the Walking Dead trooper.
Yeah, exactly. Daryl with Chewie's crossbow.
Oh dang!
Just call it Star Wars: The Dark Times.
Yeah.
And then
Mash it up. That's what that is.
Well, next week we have two
Two
episodes of The Bad Batch.
Again?
I just had.
They want to end the season fast, man. They don't want us to.
Well, they probably are worried about
Spread it out.
spoilers.
There's a
had the name here. Identity Crisis is episode 10, and Point of No Return, episode 11.
Identity Crisis. Who's that for? Who's having it?
I will say in a short,
Omega.
I agree.
In a short period of time, they have created like such an impactful connection. You know, like I think we were talking about it. I think an episode or two ago, when we were talking about how like Marvel like stretched out like storytelling like over years. Like they've really done that with from season 7 of Clone Wars to Bad Batch season 1 to Bad Batch season 2. Like they've really like put this like just like impactful story that we're just waiting. Like we know it's going to end. You know, we're not like, oh yeah, this is a great show, this is cool. We know that like it's every episode they keep moving it forward. They keep moving the goalposts. So like, just like there's so much to look forward to, even though it's going to be sad.
Very sad.
It's got there's no way around it. Come on, we know what happens. They're not living on Pastor.
Yes, they are.
Your M count's low.
Please.
That's going to be the worst put down ever.
Yeah, that guy's got low M count energy.
You got low M count. It's not low T, it's low M.
It's low M.
Low M. Well, I think that's going to do it for us today. If you enjoyed listening, feed that algorithm and leave a review on your podcast app. Be sure to include that cake emoji. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hit like and subscribe. Just subscribe down below and you can be entered to win an Alpha Ignition helmet of your choice, casted by the Dad Batch and painted by our very own Tech.Bad Batch, Joe Lara. Special thanks to Steph in the chat for moderating. Love you,
Thanks,
Steph.
Steph.
Let's see here. Gentlemen, let the listeners know where they can find you. Albin?
You can find us at www.r2kt.com, and we're also at the www.detachment.com, where we have the walk-in wounded across all the clubs.
Nice. And Justin, where can listeners find you?
I'm at SONFIELD on all the socials, or find me on the 501st forums at any given time. I'm always there.
And John?
You can find me at WonderCon this Friday with the boys and everyone else.
And Remy?
Yes, just like John mentioned, find us this weekend at WonderCon. And again, our panel is on Friday evening in room 208 between 8:30 and 9:30 p.m. So we hope to see you there.
And Brian?
Let's do official 50 First Legion on Instagram in honor of Justin and Albin being on with us today. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And Joe?
Practicing tech turns, no big deal.
Yeah.
I'll see you all Friday. That's going to be fun to hang out with you guys this weekend. Brian, we're going to be thinking of you. We'll be texting you.
We'll be teching you.
Teching you. Yeah.
And we got Mosh Isley tickets that we've gotten, so we will see all of you in person in San Diego Comic-Con. Naomi and family, we can't wait to see you all again.
Right on.
Nice.
I'm going.
Right.
Justin, I'm going.
See
I'm
you
going.
there.
I'm going to be there. I'm bringing Crosshair too. Best believe.
Assemble!
You can follow me at stevie.kicks on Instagram, sometimes X and Threads. And of course, you can find all of us at thedadbatch.com. Thank you again for listening to episode 85 of the Dad Batch podcast. Be sure to tune in next week for episode 86. We'll see you this weekend at WonderCon. And until next time, enjoy your spice responsibly.